Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Situational Awareness Matters, real talk with real people. Today, we have some hot topics ahead. We're going to be taking a deep dive into EMPs, United Nations gun laws, and the New York State, Massachusetts Idiot's Guide to Violating the Constitution. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm your host, Lee Schwartzberg, and joining me, as always, are my esteemed co-hosts, Rennie Archambault and Chet Babcock. Good morning, gents.
Morning.
Good morning.
All right, before we get started, we have a new feature I just want to introduce. If you want to call into the show and talk to any one of us or comment, please see the banner down below. It says call the show at 508-974-4231. That's 508-974-4231. All right, let's get started. To kick this off, first, let's talk about EMPs, or otherwise known as electromagnetic pulses. What does it mean? What is it capable of doing? And are we at risk here in the United States? Can we protect ourselves from it? And last but not least, who's capable of launching it and by what means? Rennie, I know you're chomping at the bit. Let's go get some.
Okay, I've been a student of this subject for years, and I consider myself an expert on it. I've read more books. I've got more books on my bookshelf here on this shit than you care to think. Anyway, the reality of man-made EMPs is a subject of debate among many experts. The only reason it's a subject of debate among many experts is they don't want you to know the truth. Panic sets in. That said, while it's theoretically possible, take the word theoretically, throw it out. It's a reality. For a high-altitude nuclear explosion to generate a significant EMP capable of causing widespread damage to the electrical grid, the actual likelihood of the event occurring, and the potential impact are the subject of ongoing research and analysis. Again, I'm terming research and analysis bullshit because they don't want you to know the truth. Facts are facts. It can happen. The effects would be devastating to the critical infrastructure of military systems. The potential effect of EMPs will be going on for years. There's growing awareness and need to address this potential threat. However, according to the experts, again, and I don't consider many people experts on it, the exact level of vulnerability and the best strategies of mitigating the impact of EMPs remain an active study and discussion. And bullshit again. They don't want you to know what's going on. In summary, EMPs have the potential to disrupt the electrical system is a real concern. The exact nature of the threat and the best approach for addressing it is to be aware that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Mr. Producer, could you please run video number 3 for me? So last week I read an article. Remember when that Chinese spy balloon went over?
Yeah. The first time?
No, the second time.
Second time?
Yeah. It was collecting data, and it contracted with a North American company, and it was gathering the data and sending it back to China in high speed with this to this North American company. And so that says to me that they were that they're laying the groundwork. Mr. Producer, kindly tune up and run video number 2, please. Now, you don't have to just take my word for it. Dan Bongino talks about this all the time. This is a clip from one of Bongino's podcasts.
Eventually. Maybe. There it is.
It was just a screenshot versus the video. Did you want the video to play?
I wanted the video, yeah.
Mr. Producer,
Video number
if
2.
there's a video link, could you click that, please?
Excuse us, folks. Minor temporary technical difficulties.
Yeah. There we go.
Listen, let me throw this out there in advance because I feel like it's only fair, especially to my diehards. Today's show not going to be for everyone. And when I say not for everyone, I don't mean it's going to be a show about what I ate for dinner last we're going to talk about dietary tips and macronutrients. That's not what I mean at all. Today's show is going to be really hard to hear because I'm just telling you right now, it's going to produce a lot of anxiety because if you're a moron, which is no one listening here, today's show will produce no anxiety. But notice, I said it will produce anxiety because you're the actual smart people. There's been something on my mind the entire weekend and yesterday. And I kind of hinted at it on the radio, and I was going to let it go. And then yesterday I said to myself, I can't. It's irresponsible to my audience. There are some really powerful people trying to tell us something. All you have to do is listen. I'll tell you what I mean. If you listen to my radio show yesterday, I think you see where this show is going to go, okay? Let's get to it. I don't got a lot to I don't want to waste any time. Folks, remember the video I showed you, the guy who thwarted an attempted home invasion because he was ready? Been telling you for months, you got to prepare and you got to train. A firearm without training is just a really expensive paperweight. You got to practice, and a lot, because you're going to be using that firearm under stress. You're looking for a great gift idea? Get the iTarget Cube today. Here's what's great about the cubes. You can put them in different spots, which is more realistic. It's not just the paper target in front of you. You can practice clearing drills, sequential drills, or set it to random mode to test your skills against multiple targets, all while the system times your speed. You see me moving around? I practice with this thing all the time. Right now, save 20% on the iTarget Cube. Don't wait. You get free shipping with the offer code DAN20 at checkout, DAN20. You just go to itargetpro.com. That's the letter I-T-A-R-G-E-T, itargetpro.com. Go today. iTarget Pro, the system comes in most calibers, from 9mm to 223 as well. You can train with almost any firearm. It's the easiest, most cost-effective way to train. It pays for itself in a single day. That's the letter itargetpro.com, itargetpro.com. Use offer code DAN20, DAN20. Don't wait. Important show. Joseph, let's go with those.
Dan, it's time to leave the world behind and really get into the Dan Bongino Show.
Joe's, if you see where I'm going, Joe's laying down Easter eggs here for you. He saw it too. Before I get to it, just one quick thought. Harvard's president, Claudine Gay, apparently they are not going to remove her. Even though, Aggie, did you see the testimony? She had a tough time with the genocide question. Yeah. No, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because there's nothing to say. I'm just going to say two things. Number one, you know what? It's probably right. I have a content production job. I got to find content, and content where the kids are, and that's where the kids are. If you're watching TikTok, you can't escape your For You page right now without finding a million different people commenting on a movie called Leave the World Behind. It's a Julia Roberts movie. Ethan Hawke's in it, and the guy who plays Blade in the new Marvel movies, a really good actor. And it's interesting, the commentary from a lot of different people, depending on your political ideology. The commentary, I even kind of did this test with Joe this morning a little bit. Depending on your political ideology, I can tell you what you're going to say about this movie. Why am I talking about a movie? Dan, this is a political show. Because the executive producers of the movie are Barack and Michelle Obama. Dan, what the hell in Hades would you be watching?
All right, Ronnie, if you'd be so kind as just to paraphrase what Dan was going to
getting to the part about the EMPs.
Right. Well, what was he going to say, like, in general?
That movie that the world left behind is why the Obama's scared shitless about it. It's about EMPs.
That's related.
Yeah, so if he's going to say it, you know it's got to be some factual base behind it.
Hey, listen, I got a question for you, Rennie. What kind of information do you think is being collected by these balloons? What's pertinent?
What's pertinent?
Yeah.
The atmosphere, where they can launch these nukes. They can launch it from these water balloons.
Okay.
The data on the ground, the land around it. Let's face it, they don't want to destroy the land. They want the land.
Exactly.
Right. They want to destroy the critical infrastructure.
GMP. And the reason I say it's going to happen sooner rather than later, the reporter asked Biden last night, it was on the news this morning, what he thought about the Taiwan election. And Biden told the reporter that the United States does not support Taiwan independence. So you can bet your ass this shit's going to happen sooner rather than later. Take my word for it.
Yeah. Staying on the EMP stuff. Okay. My thoughts on this is you're right. Atmospheric conditions and so forth. Because what's the best way to accomplish this, a low yield nuclear device, right?
Yep.
Develop more like the center of the country. They're going to need to know where the fallout is going to go, right?
Yep.
Okay. What kind of weather patterns?
Yep.
Lee?
Quick question for those of us who are not as adept in this knowledge. What's the difference between the EMP and a low yield nuclear device, right? An EMP is an electrical magnetic pulse, and a low yield nuclear device is something different, no?
Low yield nuclear device is what's going to be used to destroy the Earth's magnetic shield, which is going to create the EMP.
Right, and there's different levels, different strengths, different locations. If you could accomplish the same thing by dropping one over let's say a ship, a Navy warship, right?
Yeah.
You're going to shut down all the communications. Well, hopefully they're hardened, but potentially shut down all the communications just on that ship. But if you do a bigger one, over Des Moines, Iowa, that's going to make a hell of a lot more mess, right?
Yeah, and the bigger the device, the location, the greater the area that it covers.
Well, yeah, because you can build them this size to this size, like briefcase nukes and tactical nukes.
So
and studies have shown, like I said, experts don't want you to really. They want to use the word study and terms like that because they don't want you to know the truth. But they're estimating population that survives 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, 90% won't.
90% of population failure, right? So if you're talking about that, so I'm not as adept in information as you gentlemen are in this particular piece. So my question is, if they targeted, let's just arbitrarily, let's just say they targeted one of the largest electrical power plants that supplies the East Coast, right? That's what they're trying to do. Well, that would be the end game, the biggest bang for the buck.
Yeah, selective. Yeah, it's selective,
right? So why would they harden those knowing that they're targets?
Why would they? Why would they?
Why would
or wouldn't they?
Let me rephrase that question. Why would not those power plants be hardened from those specific kind of attacks?
Money and the attention given to it.
Yeah, maybe they don't want it to be hardened.
Yeah, because now there's something else to think about here. It's not just EMPs that are going to cause massive destruction in that area. Coronal mass ejection is also
It's going to be the fallout.
Sunspots. Okay, you get a mass ejection from the sun, right, which happens all the time, and it happened what was the Carrington event, 1920, something like that.
Yeah.
And it completely destroyed the electrical grid pretty much throughout the world, such as it was at the time. If that happens now, right, it's a natural event, but they're not hardening against these shit. Now the military is, but civilian things are not being hardened. Now the other end game with this is if they kill let's say China, right? We'll go off the conspiracy theory end here for just for a moment. If China knocks out the electrical grid on the East Coast, it destroys all the transformers, right, in the electrical substations. Where do those transformers come from? Where are they made?
China.
Exactly. So they have complete control over how and when that entire electrical grid is restored, right? So that's part of the plan. Again, the 1,000-year plan, Belt and Road, all that good stuff. That's all part of the plan, and they look, again, miles, years, light years out in the future.
1949 is coming fast, gentlemen.
Yeah.
That's the 100-year marathon. People don't even think about that.
Yep. So anyway.
It causes me to stay awake at night.
Yes, this is live. Dara 12344. We are live. Absolutely. Yeah. So you're live with us on this commenting section.
Hey, Dara, call in if you want to.
All right, Rennie, can you explain that 1945 thing you just mentioned?
1949. So the Chinese, in 1949, the Chinese developed a plan. It was called the 100-year marathon to take over the world, become the superpower. And they set this plan in place. And so far it's been going according to their playbook. Here we are, 1924, and 1949 is really coming fast. Just the fact that the Biden administration is in bed with the Chinese, his comment last night that the United States does not support Taiwanese independence speaks volumes as to where we're headed with these people.
Yes, we are all fathers.
It's
Yes,
it's not a good road to be on right now.
Yeah, the writing's on the wall, and you just have to be able to read it. And the challenge is always, all right, okay, Dara, what's your question? You got a question? Go ahead, shoot it. Let's see what Dara 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 has to.
She could call in.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
too. Hey, Blaze, just wanted to go ahead and kill that one, I think.
Yeah.
That's our first troll or whatever you call them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving on. All right. So anyway, we know that it's not a question of if, but when, right? So what can we do to protect ourselves, individually?
Well, you can go online at Amazon and buy a Faraday cage to keep your cell phone in. That serves two purposes. It protects your cell phone and your other electronics, and it prevents you from being tracked. I know I have several that I use meticulously.
Hey, Rennie, what about vehicles?
Vehicles, they sell kits for vehicles, but you know what? That's a waste of money because when you pull into the gas station, you can't get gas out of the ground. You're not going to suck it out with a straw. So
All those pumps are electronic now.
all those
They're
pumps,
no
everything's
longer-
electronic. Yeah.
Right.
no
But
longer-
what vehicles, though, in your opinion, would be helpful, or what would be acceptable?
Anything prior, let's say to 1960, prior to the electronic ignition.
There you go. Okay. That includes motorcycles too. And
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what about my bike?
your
Yeah.
bike, well, it depends on your
Yeah.
bike. Yeah. Your bicycle or your motorcycle or your
Either or, depending
Yeah.
on how much gas I have, right?
um
Because I won't be able to get gas from my bike then.
Yeah,
Not
Blaze Man, shoot that video if you want for a minute, just so people can understand what we're talking about.
yeah, there's a bunch of different ways to get to salvage gasoline though. For a while, it's not going to work forever, short term.
Yeah, but then but you can't suck it out of the ground with a straw either.
No, you can't. No.
Controversial warning about China from a new best-selling book that's become a lightning rod for criticism. Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent Margaret Warner explains.
Since the 1970s, Michael Pillsbury has focused on China as a Pentagon official and consultant, and now at the conservative Hudson Institute. Over the years, the Mandarin speaker has grown ever more hardline in his views, as is clear in his best-selling but controversial new book, The 100-Year Marathon, China's Secret Strategy to Replace America as the Global Superpower. It says it's based on Chinese and American documents and books and conversations with Chinese military officials and defectors. Critics have shot back, accusing him of sloppy use of evidence. I spoke with Pillsbury last week. The very title of your book asserts that America's been in denial, that China has a secret strategy to replace the United States. What is that strategy based on?
The strategy is based on two things. First, China's historical role in what we would today call the leader of the world. They want to restore themselves to the role they played for 2,000 years. The second part of the strategy is they know from their economists can't build China into a replacement for us by themselves. They've got to get certain things from the outside world, and they've worked very hard in the last 30 years to get those things.
Is that so surprising?
It's surprising because they have denied publicly such an ambition. They portray themselves as weak, backward, and in great need of assistance from us.
And the United States has been a very willing partner in assisting them.
Yes, because of false assumptions. We thought, going back 30 or 40 years ago, if China becomes prosperous, the middle class will demand democracy. And so we'll be looking at a country that, yes, is stronger, but it has our values. That didn't happen. That's what I call the greatest intelligence failure in our history.
But there are other countries in the world that consider themselves great historical powers and want to restore that greatness. What makes China, as you portray it, so malevolent or so inimical to U.S. interests?
I think it's the unreformed China that I'm worried about. They plan to keep the Communist Party's structure, their approach to human rights, the approach to pollution. They plan to keep all that and become the dominant economic power. This is what I'm warning against.
But wasn't it inevitable, given China's size and its resources, its population, that it was bound to grow by leaps and bounds? It didn't need the United States for that.
No, they did need us for that. It's very clear from their own writings. They believe that roughly half their growth over the last 30 years was brought about by favorable terms of trade and investment from America. We're crucial to their strategy.
Now, you yourself made a personal evolution. You say you used to be what's known in trade as a panda hugger.
Yes. A panda hugger that I was before is someone who uncritically just wants to help and support China, has a sense of the old, what I call the old narrative. I came to realize I've been wrong from the beginning about who was really managing whom in this relationship. We have, I hate to say, been their pawns because we've got a lot of benefit from our trade with China and our investment, and they have made some enormous progress. But I think overall, the Chinese are managing us much better than we are managing China.
Now, people who've looked at this book criticize it for relying way too much on the view of the hawks inside the defense and intelligence and military establishments, and that there are many other competing voices in the Chinese establishment, aren't there?
Yes, that criticism is valid, but the rise of the hawks has happened, it's a fact. President Xi Jinping shows more attention to them, has involved them more in his deliberations, goes to meet with them in person. So I think the rise of the hawks that I'm claiming has taken place is not up for debate. It's happened for sure. Other civilians are involved too. It's not just the military. They have a much more nationalistic view of that China should speak out and really be something now and not wait until 2049.
So now what would a Chinese-led global order look like that is detrimental to U.S. interests?
The Chinese concept of a new global order, they say in very pleasing language, will be fair. The South and the poor countries of the world, there'll be no pressure anymore against dictators. The issues of a global nature, like climate change, pollution in general, these matters will be handled by consensus, not by pressure groups from what they perceive as, unusual concern with American values. That will all be gone. The key point about the new Chinese-led global order is America will not be a global leader. The removal of the United States as what they call the hegemon is the most important thing. So the new order itself is just going to have no American leadership. That's a fundamental point.
There is a counter view, which is the U.S. and China are now the world's two biggest economies. And if we enter into a period of conflict with them, we do so at our own peril.
Well, it's true. We want to cooperate with China. But what I'm arguing is a little bit different. I'm saying we need to be shaping China at the same time as they're shaping us. They have enormous influence in our political system, with our businessmen. There's no reason we can't try to have the same kind of influence in Beijing.
So if the United States wants to forestall this being replaced as the global superpower, what does it most need to do?
We need to strengthen organizations that are dedicated to shaping China. We have to wake up that the Chinese are not pouring backward anymore, and it's time to shape them. But secondly, we are falling behind in almost all the competitiveness indicators there are. We've got to get our own house in order first, or the Chinese are going to win the marathon by default.
Michael Pillsbury, thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Great explanation, Blaze, man. Thank you for sharing that.
Yep, definitely.
One thing I might want to add, I went to pick up a prescription yesterday on the way to work. For one of them was my diabetes medication, which
Not your Viagra?
no.
Okay.
I'm beyond that.
Mail order, right?
Asshole. Anyway, the medication, it comes from China. So the pharmacist told me you better talk to your doctor this week. Can't get it anymore.
Yep.
Oh, no shit.
That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. So looks like I'm pretty well fucked on that if I can't do anything.
Well, then you will need the Viagra, no? No.
No, it's all right. Hey,
Hey, you know what? Let's have a visit shortly, all right? I'll show you what it is.
Yeah. It's pick on rainy day. It's all good.
ooh, baby.
I love
All
it.
There's no videos. It didn't happen.
No.
All right, gents. So we've touched on a few major components of the EMPs. Is there anything else you want to cover before?
No, I think I've summed it up pretty. I think I've summed that up pretty well. You know, people should know where we're at. If they don't get it by now, they're never going to get it. When the shit hits the fan, don't come looking at me for help. I've been trying to warn you for months and years now.
Yeah, like you always say, Lee, self-rescue, man.
Yeah.
Prepare to self-rescue, because ain't nobody else going to come help you.
That's our motto.
Yeah.
Prepare to self-rescue.
Yep.
All right. So let's just recap here real quick about EMPs. And, you know, me being the less educated one of the three of us on this particular piece of information, can we dumb it down very quickly in like 1 minute, a 1 minute summation for those of us who don't have the experience and just listening for the first time?
Yeah, I'll dumb it down for you real quickly. If you see on the news that there's another fucking Chinese spy balloon coming over, that's it. That's the end of the world as you know it.
Yep.
Well, that was quick enough.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But another better example might be if you stick a screwdriver in your electrical socket, there's going to be this big flash.
Bang.
Fry everything in your house, kill all the circuit
Yeah.
breakers. This is the same thing, basically the same thing, just happens in the atmosphere.
On a bigger scale, yeah.
On a much bigger scale, yeah.
All right. That's cool. What I learned today was that the EMP is equal to a, what'd you guys call it? Less nuclear yield, or what was it?
Low nuclear yield device.
Yeah. So EMP is a low nuclear yield device.
Well,
I did not know
that
that.
Chinese spy balloon actually has the capabilities to launch it.
Yeah, okay, no, it's not. An EMP is a result of the detonation.
got
of
it.
The detonation, yeah.
It's a result of
Got
the
it.
detonation. So the
Got it.
signs or the symptoms are the disease. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now I better understand it.
Okay. Well, good.
Cool. All right. So we're going to break here in about 30 seconds or so. When we come back, we're going to get into the UN's idea of mass destruction, the implementation of gun laws. You know, I refer to Pol Pot and Hitler for just two of these idiotic ideas. When we come back from break, gents, we're going to let you, and Chet, I can see you growling right now. Yeah.
Call in, folks. Call in. We did the special just for all our audience, all 7 of you. So call.
Absolutely. All right. As we go to break, Chet, take a few breaths and not hyperventilate. A few shots.
Through the nose, out through the mouth.
Right. Yeah. And we come back.
Ranger
Chet's going to hit us up with. He's going to start us off with the UN's idea of mass destruction. All right, folks. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. I think.
No matter what you are, I will always be with you. Doesn't matter what you do, girl. Ooh, girl, want you. No matter where you go, I will always be around. Won't you tell me what you found, girl? Ooh, girl, want you.
All right, welcome back. Chet,
Yes.
let her rip. I know you got a lot
Okay.
to say about this one.
Got a lot of issues about this. You know, for some reason, the Biden administration has decided to turn our well-being over to the United Nations. I think that's something that goes back to Barack Obama and being all the world is one kumbaya. You know, we're all the same nonsense. Some of the stuff they've done recently is the Arms Trade Treaty Agreement, all right, which means they're going after the arms trade industry, particularly here in the United Nations. And there are 31 principles contained in the UNGP, which is the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights. Okay, some of the more notable ones concern the control of ammunition, taxation of ammunition, determining what can and can't be sold to civilians versus military, and in some cases, what can and can't be sold to civilians. They seem to forget the Second Amendment, right? Which I just don't understand. I mean, that seems to mean nothing to the rest of the world. That only applies here in the United States of America. As far as I'm concerned, fuck the rest of the world. They're on their own.
Well, it is the United States Constitution, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, that little paper document that
Yeah.
those really smart guys put together.
Name me 5 Democrats that really give a shit about the Constitution and the Second Amendment.
Oh, I can't do that. I would.
I was gonna send you 2 baked lobsters, but now you're out. Sorry.
Well, it would make my head explode to come up to even begin to think about any of them supporting the Constitution of the United States. That just seems to be lately something they wipe their asses with.
This morning I heard on the news that the governor of New Mexico has extended the waiting period exponentially if you buy a new firearm. It's like months. And
Yep.
she knows it's going to go to Supreme Court, but if you try to buy a firearm now in New Mexico, you're going to wait 2 to 3 months to get it. That's their waiting period.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something about the law is going to go into effect even though it's under appeal.
Yep.
It's such bullshit.
No, I'm trying to maintain composure on this one.
Breathe in through your
Yeah,
nose,
exactly.
out through your mouth.
Woosah, right? Woosah, right? The challenge is going to be, and it's been for the last couple of years, especially for up here in New York, where we are. I forgot what I could.
You guys are just screwed, without a doubt.
You out of the generosity of your heart, you New Yorkers are supporting the United Nations. That the rest of the country.
No. Don't get that twisted. The government of New York is supporting that.
It's on your land. It's on your land, though. You're a part owner.
I don't disagree with that statement. However, I did not vote for this fucking waffling twat to be in office here, and whatever.
Hey, Blaze,
moving forward, right?
What happened to our beeper?
Where's my beeper?
You see this?
So, right. Let's talk about real quick what happened the last time an individual, whatever you want to call it, disarmed the entire country. The last one that the last one that made the biggest news was
Here in the U.S.
No.
Oh,
Nazi Germany, right?
Germany, yeah, worldwide.
Right. World War II, Nazi Germany was the biggest one that we're aware that we know of, right?
Yeah.
Never mind the smaller ones. Chad, I think we were talking about Venezuela the other day.
Yeah.
Them too.
Yep.
What happened? That was a 10-year destructive cycle, wasn't it?
Yeah, that went on for a long time. And that's how most of these countries control all of this shit. It's not, and that's why, fortunately, the Second Amendment protects us against it. But ammunition, they'll tax it. They'll out the roof. Like there'll be a 500% tax on one bullet, right? In a lot of Latin American countries,
per bullet, yeah.
Exactly. Let's say Colombia, for example, you can own a weapon, you can own a handgun, firearm, but you have to buy it through the military, right? They have like a government store that you go buy and they'll only sell you a certain type of weapon that's used by their military. Like, let's say a 9
that they want you to have.
9mm Beretta is all you can buy. So there's all these systems in place to completely circumvent your right to self-protection with a firearm in these other countries. And that's that's where the UN comes in. They're trying to bring all the same crap here, and it can't happen. It's just not going to happen.
Right. What did, and I know that's because history does repeat itself, right? So what did Admiral Hirohito say after he bombed Pearl Harbor? Do you remember the quote?
Yeah, of course. We can never invade. Nobody can ever invade the United States of America because there's a gun behind every blade of grass.
Right. I fear that we have awakened the sleeping giant, for there is a gun behind every blade of grass, right?
Oh.
And he wasn't talking about the military.
Hey, we have a phone call.
He was talking about civilian
Yeah,
populace.
we have a phone call.
Oh, sweet.
What do we do?
Excellent. Let him in. Let them in.
Well, you're a little off in your assessment here, I believe. I think I should give you a little correction here. Do not discount the fact that Joseph Stalin also disarmed his people.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
You
no
remember
doubt.
that?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, Hirohito's people said that there was a blade behind every blade of grass in New England area on the East Coast. That's why they didn't attack the East Coast. But Yamamoto also said that they had awakened a sleeping giant and filled them with a terrible resolve.
Right.
So don't discount the entirety of the American people, even though we have black guys over in California shitting on the sidewalk.
Right. We're not just counting it. We were just making it as a point that this is what happened and this is what they said. This was World War II, 1940s, 50s, 1940. You know, we weren't discounting anything.
No,
but I appreciate your input for sure.
Well, I understand that, but otherwise the program you got going is all spot on, and I'm enjoying it, and I fully intend in sharing it among people, and hopefully others will follow suit as well. Congratulations, gentlemen. Keep it up.
Well, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate the compliment.
But is he still on or no?
He's done. Done.
No.
No. I was trying to catch his name to thank him personally.
So I'm a proud owner of a Barrett. So this is one of the take a guess how much one of these cost.
$5.
$2.50.
$8.
$8.
What?
It's $5 here in Florida, but you're
$8.
yeah.
Well,
I had to
you better
spend
hope it's a straight line.
$279 on a computer disk that I got to put in my laptop and take with me, so I can program in all the weather information, estimate the Coriolis, the curvature of the Earth, the windage, the elevation, just to get the shot off and make it accurate. $279 for just the computer disk.
Yep.
So in order to fire that gun, I got to have my laptop with me.
Yep. Well, the gun itself is what, 10 grand, 10 to 20.
Well, the gun alone was $4,500. It's the optics that get it up to 20. But something well worth having.
Oh, I can show you my plastic Nerf rounds that I'm allowed to have here in New York.
No, we don't want to see those. Anyway, though.
Yeah. All right. So the UN's idea of mass destruction, right? The challenge is and is always going to be the left versus the right, and the understanding that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. Yeah. But at what cost are we looking at it that way? I know, Chet. I know.
Yes. Yes. Or release the hostages and all this shit would stop, but they're not going to do that. So, something about what you're talking about, disarmament. Okay, with the United Nations, weapons of mass destruction, disarmament. It's all connected. The United Nations mandate for disarmament is, since the birth of the United Nations, the goals of multilateral disarmament and arms limitation have been central to the organization's efforts to maintain international peace and security. It's the old thing, you take away guns and nobody will kill each other, right? Because it's all the guns' fault.
Now, here's an interesting piece. Can the United Nations operate in the United States?
No.
Constitutionally speaking, I say no. No.
Constitutionally speaking, no. But there have been videos across the board. I didn't get the opportunity to load one, but there are UN facets in the United States coming down the eastern coast.
Yeah.
It's been like 2 years now.
With like the blue helmets.
Yeah, the blue helmets and the white helmets, right?
Yeah.
And UN markings on their vehicles, on their armored personnel
They
carriers.
call them United Nothings. That's what we call them over in Israel, United Nothings.
Agreed, but they're here.
They're here.
And why?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good question.
Right? Why and what?
Yeah.
You know, the title of this podcast is Now What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be their usual excuse. It's going to be humanitarian aid.
Yeah. That's the cover story.
That's their usual excuse for anywhere going anywhere in a country dealing with anything. Well, we're only here for humanitarian aid.
Right. So then your liberators become your occupiers.
Yeah.
That's your humanitarian aid, right?
Yeah.
All right. That one frustrates me because we can't control that one, right? But that's a frustrating part of it. All right, now we got a couple minutes left. I want to hit on the illegal violations of the Constitution by both New York State and Massachusetts, trying to ban state militias. This is an ignitable offense. I would liken it to the Boston Tea Party event. You know, citizens rising up against a tyrannical government.
Yep.
Gents, let's have at this for a couple
All
minutes.
right, Blaze, can you run video number 1 for me, please?
While we're waiting on that, for Christmas, my daughter got me the best coffee cup ever. Best dad ever.
Nice.
Right? Yeah.
Nice.
Last year she got me this giant toilet because every year she buys me a coffee cup. Last year she got me this huge toilet cup. You know, so it's on the bookshelf. But this year though, she hit it out of the park. This thing never leaves my sight.
That's nice.
Best dad ever. Okay.
Is that a Yeti?
I don't know what it is. It has nutrition.
It's a nice looking cup.
Yeah.
Nice cup.
Yeah. Thanks, fellas. I'll tell her.
I don't know if I have one. Oh wait, hold
Hey,
on.
Jeff. Yeah.
I got.
Texas
Wait,
National
I don't know
Guard.
if you can see this. Where's my camera? This. Where the fuck is it?
Blaze, have we found that
It's a-
video yet?
It's a.
It's a laser crystal
Oh, that's
that says "Best Dad Ever," but
Oh.
you can't see it. But trust me, that's what it
Yeah.
says.
Well, I believe you. Yeah.
Somewhere. Yeah, right there.
All
right.
Yeah, Jeff is.
While waiting
asking
for the
about
video.
the
There's a-
National Guard.
There's a video out there put up by a guy named Kramer. Anyway,
Yeah, just paraphrase.
Well, I don't know what the amendment is. I'll have to look it up.
Ed Markey was a senator from Massachusetts. Used to be a candy man. He's a piece of shit. Jamie Raskin. Oh, here it is.
For a moment, you'll realize that what we're experiencing today is no different than what the Patriots experienced back in the 1770s. Think about it. We have a government that is overreaching its authority on all levels. We've got a government that is taxing us at nearly 50% of everything that we make. And now, in New York City and other liberal states, no, they're not asking you to quarter British soldiers. They're asking you to quarter illegal aliens.
Yep.
So tell me, what's the difference between then and now? Well, the difference is we have a constitution. A constitution that men and women fought and died for. That says we have the authority, in fact, the responsibility to repeat what our founding fathers did whenever we get in the same exact situation. So let me ask you, what's the difference between a tyrannical government that's in London or one that's DC? If you think about it for a moment, you'll realize that what we're experiencing today is no different than what the Patriots experienced back in the 1770s. Think about it. We have a government that is overreaching its authority on all levels. We've got a government that is taxing us at nearly 50% of everything that we make. And now, in New York City and other liberal states, no, they're not asking you to quarter British soldiers. They're asking you to quarter illegal aliens. So tell me, what's the difference between then and now? Well, the difference is we have a constitution. A constitution that men and women fought and died for. That says we have the authority, in fact, the responsibility to repeat what our founding fathers did whenever we get in the same exact situation. So let me ask you, what's the difference between a tyrannical government that's in London or one that's in D.C.? If you think about it for a moment, you'll realize that what we're experiencing today is no different than what the Patriots experienced back in.
Thank you, boys, man, for playing that. So anyway, the other puke is a guy named Jamie Raskin. He's a congressman from New York. And him and Markey are proposing a bill to go before Congress to prevent citizen militias from organizing and training. Raskin's such a piece of shit, his own kid committed suicide. If I was his son, I'd probably kill myself too. But that's the mentality that we're dealing with. Kramer summed it up really well. They're afraid of us.
Oh, yeah.
They're trying to take action short of shooting and killing us, or short of sending the Gestapo after us, otherwise known as the FBI. They're going to try everything in their power to shut us down. And that's exactly what's going on as we speak.
Right. So let me quote this from the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Hey, the night you stayed at my house, did you enjoy those 2 lobsters?
Absolutely.
For 2 more, name me 5 fucking Democrats that give a shit about the Constitution.
There are none. You owe me 2 lobsters. There are not 5.
There you go.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
There are not 5. Now, here's something else. I think it was John Paul Jones, or I don't know. I'm misquoting, but the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants.
Yep.
I'm not trying to incite anything.
Nope.
However, history does have a tendency to repeat itself.
Yep.
And gents, I say this again, every goddamn time we talk, prepare to self-rescue.
Yep. Hey, Lee, I know you got to take off in a couple of minutes. Rennie, you just want to keep going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, awesome. I gotta jump out of here in a couple, but gentlemen, feel free, and I'll catch the replay later.
All right,
I still want to jump right in the middle of Governor Abbott's giant, huge brass balls.
And I just want to hit on the doomsday clock too, real quick.
That too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just keep.
All right.
It's all right.
So,
gentlemen,
Lee, have a good training session. I'll talk to you later, brother.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. As always, stay safe, stay vigilant, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night, boys.
I guess, Chad, I guess we got a phone call. Blaze, if you want to play the phone call.
Okay, well.
So Mr. B had a question.
Actually,
Mr. B had a question. He wanted to know about 2 things, about the Texas National Guard taking action on the border. Well, I think Texas is within their rights to do it. It's their property. Seeing as how the United States government's not living up to their constitutional responsibility of protecting the border, Texas, I think, has the right to do it. And then Mr. B also says, he who would sacrifice liberty for some temporary safety deserves neither liberty nor safety. That's a very good statement right there.
That was Benjamin Franklin, I think. So,
yeah.
Reference the stuff in Texas. Yeah, it is. Well, the government as a whole has 2 responsibilities. Okay, that's to protect its citizens and to protect the constitutional rights of its citizens.
And it does neither.
And the current government is doing neither. So that's why Governor Abbott took responsibility and is doing what he's doing there, because he also swore an oath to uphold the Constitution for his particular state.
And he's doing his job.
He's doing his job, exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Fortunately, I feel so bad for the Border Patrol guys. And I've worked with so many of those guys over the years, and they're a bunch of good people, but they're having to put up with that shit. They pretty much just had to back off and hands off for the time being.
Yeah.
And I just hope that those fucking morons don't push those poor guys into getting themselves involved in something that they don't want to be involved in.
They don't want to be sucked into. Yeah.
Hell no.
It would not be unlike the United States government to do that, though.
Sad but true. What else do you want to talk about there, buddy?
So,
Wait, what do we have? Oh, you said you wanted to do
if we had time, the doomsday clock.
Doomsday clock. Yeah, we have time.
So right now, the doomsday clock is set since the war in Ukraine started. The doomsday clock has been set at 90 seconds to midnight. On January 23rd at 10 a.m. in Washington, D.C., it's going to be reset by a bunch of nuclear scientists. Nobody knows what it's going to be reset to. So we're going to have to wait till January 23rd at 10 a.m. to find out what their opinion is.
Yeah, I saw this morning where North Korea, I guess, has launched a ballistic rocket that can hit U.S. bases.
Yeah.
Distant U.S. bases. Iran, I think, is just biding their time developing their nuclear weapons, thanks to Obama and Biden.
I think they already have them.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's they're just getting them set up for distribution now.
We lost 2 Navy SEALs the other night.
Yeah, what the fuck? I haven't seen anything farther on that. But
ship boarded. They were trying to board a ship off of the coast of Somalia.
Yeah.
Reports are through sources that one of them lost his balance and fell, and the other one, as a member of the team,
as protocol,
did his job and jumped in to try to save him. So far, they're unaccounted for.
Yeah, and that's something I don't get. Why are two boarding? The only time you operate in team of twos is if you're doing either sniper or recon.
Well, so I think they were doing, according to sources I heard, I think they were doing recon work.
Yeah, that's just weird.
But they should have had backup anyway somewhere.
Well, yeah, I mean, there still should have been 6 other guys there someplace. So
yeah,
but who knows?
Ready to pick them up if they went overboard.
Phone call. Okay. Oh, yeah, go ahead with the phone call.
The phone call through. Yeah.
It says Houthis launch largest missile attack. Here we go. We're with you there, caller.
Hello,
guys. I'm not getting any calls.
Oh.
Why does it say phone call on private chat?
Oh, because that's me. So that way, when I put that through, you guys know it's a phone call.
No.
Oh, hell, got me all excited there for a minute.
Yeah, so the Houthis, so the Houthis did launch the largest missile attack yet. And the only way to deal with the Houthis is to go after Iran, because they're their sponsors. They're their proxies.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could actually start by redesignating them as a terrorist organization, one would think.
Well, they were designated as a terrorist organization.
Until Biden removed them.
At one time, until Biden removed them. Here's the video now.
Perfect.
In urgent development from the Middle East, a crucial maritime route, the Red Sea, has become the epicenter of a dramatic escalation. In a bold confrontation, Houthi militants launched an attack that directly threatens US and UK naval assets. This is the largest missile and drone attack ever launched by Iranian-backed Houthi terrorists in the Red Sea. In other words, they have openly declared a major war on the US, UK, and coalition forces trying to secure world trade. This strategic attack comes at a critical time of heightened tensions and threats to the Suez Canal, the lifeblood of global trade. Stay tuned as we examine the latest strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen, a response to the constant threat disrupting international waters. This is not just news. It is an unfolding story with global impact, immediate consequences, and a testament to the fluid dance of military power plays. Join us as we get to the heart of these critical developments and their far-reaching implications. The escalating tensions in the Middle East have reached a critical point with the recent strike by Houthi militants in Yemen near the Red Sea. This strike not only poses a significant threat to the presence of the United States and the United Kingdom in the region, but also raises concerns about the overall stability in the area. The situation demands immediate attention and careful consideration of.
So Acorn is a financial company. So
Say, since we're just spitballing here right now, or freeballing or whatever we're doing, let's talk about the raid, those ship assaulters that we're trying to do there.
Yeah.
I don't know who trained those guys, but somebody should send them a beer because that was so fucked up that they like. Let's go ahead and drop a bunch of guys on the white deck of a ship or the deck of a white ship, all dressed in black, and then let's go ahead and have them run up there with each other and like flagging each other with their weapons. Towards the end there, some guy's got the barrel of his gun pointed right at the back of somebody's head. There's some serious doubts about their ability to function.
That's the problem. They're not trained.
Well, it's actually a good thing that
they're just a group of unorganized radicals.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
50% said 50% of me says you got to be afraid of them. 50% said to me they're soft targets.
Well, there you go. Soft targets. That's a whole issue. They wouldn't be pulling that shit off with hard targets.
No, and unfortunately, I was talking to a Army Ranger last night, and the Army Ranger was telling me the reason those SEALs went overboard was because of, Biden weakening the military. And
go ahead, caller.
There we go.
Yeah, we have a question here for you. With all of these protests that are going on in New York and in other cities that are going down and shutting down streets and roads and basically entire cities, are these people setting us up for a mass murder terror attack? And what can be done to lessen the danger of this? I'd like to hear from you.
Well, my own personal opinion is yes, because by creating a blockade and giving people no place to go and herding them into one area, well, that's the classic scenario of a mass shooter. So they're setting us up for a catastrophic event. That said, constitutionally speaking, even though you have the right to peacefully assemble and redress your grievances, doesn't give you the right to block traffic and shut down streets and roads and everything else. And so it's up to the local authorities to make sure that these people don't do that. But if the local authorities don't want to act, I'd be cautious in advising people to take matters into their own hands. My advice to B would try to get away as fast as you can and as safely as you can, or B, avoid the area altogether if you know it's going to happen.
Yeah. But, peaceful protest.
Can I follow up here?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Your best guess, what is the reasonable likelihood that these people are going to take and launch a major type of attack like that here in the United States?
Lee, you can go first. I'll follow. I got my own ideas.
Okay. That's his personal opinion, not based on anything other than training experience. But yeah, I think it's a definite potential. I think it's more of a distraction than anything else, though. I think if you're going to see something major, we're not going to see it coming because of all these distractions. The whole, are there already active terrorist cells within the United States? Yeah, I definitely believe that. And they're just waiting to be activated. We had a conversation earlier about Iran getting their nuclear weapons and shit together. I don't think you're going to see that until that is in place. But again, that's just my personal opinion. How about yours? What do you think?
I say that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and I say it's 100%. They're just waiting for the opportunity. I think Biden yesterday sent the first signal that it was okay when he said we don't support Taiwanese independence. Out of the 104 million getaways that crossed the border, who knows how many are military-age men. We just have no handle on it, none whatsoever. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I'd say the numbers are floating close to 100% call.
Yeah, let's jump down the rabbit hole.
People crossing the border aren't only from Mexico. They're coming from Senegal. They're coming from over in Africa. They're coming from Ecuador, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And the only thing to stop them is what? A chain link fence?
Yeah.
Yep. Let's jump down the rabbit hole of the caller's concept or consideration there. What about, you're right, about grouping multiple people in a big area like that as a potential target? What would you guys think about maybe a false flag of some kind? Getting that many people together and an attack that's from someplace that we wouldn't normally think of it. Where am I going with this? A group that would attack all those people. Let's say another organization that would attack that group of people. Let's say the Palestinian protesters intentionally to martyr their cause or to further their cause.
Thank you for taking my call, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
I would say that's a distinct possibility. Anything's a distinct possibility. We just, because we don't know what their motivations are.
Yeah, exactly. Because
we got to assume everything's on the table until proven otherwise.
Well, yeah, and they seem to be masters of propaganda.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would seriously consider that as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Here we go. Go ahead, Blaze.
For 2 missing U.S. Navy SEALs, defense officials say the men disappeared during a boarding mission off the coast of Somalia. The region is a hotbed of American naval activity. U.S. forces overnight again targeting Houthi rebel facilities in Yemen for the 2nd straight night. The strikes are in response to the Houthis' targeting of commercial ships. ABC's Jay O'Brien from Washington tonight.
Tonight, an urgent search and rescue operation underway for 2 elite U.S. Navy SEALs missing after falling into the water during a nighttime boarding operation, according to 2 U.S. officials. It's unclear what prompted the SEALs to board the vessel conducting the operation in pitch black on the open ocean on Thursday.
Doing boarding operations in the ocean at night are some of the most dangerous things that you can do for seasoned operators. I'll tell you, it's the most dangerous thing that we do.
The SEALs operating in the Gulf of Aden between Somalia and Yemen, now a hotspot for U.S. naval activity after at least 28 attacks in recent months on commercial ships in the region by Iran-backed Houthi militants. Overnight, the U.S. conducting another retaliatory strike against the militia group. And just this week, a massive U.S.-UK assault targeting the Houthis' operations. A barrage of 150 bombs and Tomahawk cruise missiles hitting at least 60 Houthi targets across more than 24 locations. Satellite images showing areas before and after the strike. Explosions seen destroying Houthi facilities in this video from British forces. The airstrikes in response to an escalating series of attacks on commercial ships by the militants. Snarling a vital trade route home to roughly 15% of all global maritime trade. In this video, released by the Houthis late last year, you can see the group storming a commercial ship. Companies now forced to choose between sailing through the dangerous Red Sea or traveling an expensive extra 10 days around Africa. A standard 40-foot shipping container now costing $4,000 to ship from China to Northern Europe, compared to $1,500 in November. Meantime, thousands of protesters in Yemen condemning the U.S. airstrikes, and Houthi leaders promising the attacks on ships will continue in solidarity with Hamas in its war against Israel, as the 100-day mark of that conflict moves.
Jay O'Brien joining us now. And Jay, turning back to those 2 missing Navy SEALs, what more are we learning about what may have gone wrong?
With that former SEAL we spoke with tonight said that these kinds of boarding operations need to be perfectly choreographed and executed without a hitch. SEALs train for this kind of operation constantly, but they are inherently dangerous and they're made even more risky by high waves in that part of the world this time of year. We're also learning late tonight that one of those SEALs dove into the water to rescue the other. Both, of course, now missing.
All right, Jay, with those late developments tonight, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephan.
So, my friend from my source from the 3rd Ranger Battalion was telling me, I said, these guys, they're expert swimmers, they're expert warriors, they can still got to be alive. They're probably taken captive. And my 3rd Ranger Battalion source said he's counting on them being dead. He goes, no ways they would let these Somalis or these Houthis take them alive.
Yeah.
So you got to count on them being deceased, sadly.
Well, I guess we'll find out as time goes on. Man,
Every day that goes by is it's not a good thing.
No. How many American lives have been lost in all this nonsense now between the hostages that are still in Israel? It's ridiculous.
I had several
military attacks.
I'd say close to 1,000 anyway, maybe.
Yeah, but we're still sitting here with our thumbs up our asses, just waiting for something to happen.
Oh, how about the Secretary of Defense disappearing? Nobody knows where.
What the?
How about that one? Is that a good one or what?
Number 2 is vacationing in the Bahamas.
He's number 6 in line for succession to the presidency. And he's also in line for the nuclear launch codes.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Nobody knows his whereabouts.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that happen?
It doesn't surprise me.
It's got to be intentional. They got to be doing it intentionally.
It has to be. If you were the owner of McDonald's, let's say, an out-of-state owner, and you stopped by for a corporate visit at the McDonald's restaurant that you owned, and you walked in and saw that it was being run the way the Biden administration is being run, what would you do? You'd fucking fire everybody. They'd all be, the door would be hitting them in the ass.
Without a doubt.
The level of incompetence is just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think it is intentional. It has to be.
It's got to be. I was reading about the shadow government the other day. I don't think anybody in D.C. really cares about the Biden administration. I don't think they care about Crooked Joe. I don't think they care about the camel toe. I don't think they care about anything. I think the shadow government's running things and calling the shots, and that's why these people are considered irrelevant, and it only makes the news, and then that's it. Nothing else happens.
Yep. Another theory that I was thinking of this morning was that if this, like you said, it's all intentional, right? It's because I think we're still being punished for Trump being elected, or the majority.
Oh, yeah.
Put that guy in office because they said they were going to do it.
Yeah.
The Democrats, Pelosi, said, well, we're going to go punish Trump, the people that voted for Trump. And I think that's a lot of what's happening to us now because they know they're Fucked.
Yeah.
They're going to lose. So
Mr. B just said if it was Buttigieg, the world's cameras would be all over the place looking for his whereabouts.
Really?
I happen to second that motion.
Yep, definitely. So I think we're just being punished. They know they're fucked, so they're going to lose. They're just going to burn the place down before they leave.
Yeah.
I think.
So
it sucks, man.
Hey, I got to get ready to cut. So I'm just saying with this, remember, preparedness is a shared responsibility. So prepare to self-rescue.
Wait, there's something about the doomsday clock announcement?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Play that, Blaze.
Or is that just a graphic?
It might be a graphic.
Oh, nothing to play. Okay.
So,
all right. Okay. So January 23rd at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
I guess we shall see.
So prepare to self-rescue. Don't practice until you get it right. Practice so you don't get it wrong. Okay, that's number one. Number two, stay safe and stay vigilant until next time. This is another period of situational awareness. Matters, real talk with real people. And that being said, I'd like to plug POMT. I'd like to plug Chet Babcock for his expertise and as a part owner and team member of i12 GIA for all his contributions to trying to keep Americans safe every day of the week.
Global Elite Tactical Training, those guys too.
There you go.
Good training. Go look at them. All right, that's it. Well, that was fun.
Blaze, man, thank you for everything. As usual, great show.
Yep. Thanks for all the callers and the comments and the other stuff.
All the callers and the comments, thank you. We appreciate you watching. You're what keeps us going every week.
Right. Subscribe and all that shit and push the buttons and you know what to do.